there are many different types of reports, and they might differ slightly in the format and the function. However, generally, the format is going to be quite similar across different types of reports. So when you get a report, you have to figure out what type of report it is before you start planning or writing that report, right? So we're going to look at various types of reports. You could have to write an informational report, right? This is one type of report. So these reports simply provide information on a specific topic so that others can understand it quickly and clearly. You're reporting, in your report, you're just giving information on a certain topic. These are factual with no room for your own views. We don't care what you think. It's really about, okay, give me information on this particular topic in a report style. So that's a type of report that you may have to write. You may have to write a newspaper report. That's another option, right? These are found in newspapers, and the purpose is to inform the reader about news, like sports or weather, investigations. And you will have to write this report. It's going to be on something local or something international. Newspaper report, something like you would see in a newspaper. Read newspapers, read the reports, and see what they're like. See what the language is like. All right, um, you need to have that knowledge base, how to write a newspaper report. Eyewitness report, another favorite, another popular type. The eyewitness report, these are made by persons who saw something with their own two eyes and heard something with their own two ears, felt something with their own skin, right? Usually it's it's um it's a crime or some other incident that would have been eyewitnessed. So if you were a bystander or even if you were a victim, if you were in any way physically there in person, then you would be able to write an eyewitness report. So if you're an eyewitness, you will be asked to provide as many details as possible about what you saw. It's important to note that you will not say, "Oh, I thought this, maybe this is why the person did this," or "I," no. You're not speculating. You're not giving us any guesses. You're not giving us any opinions. You're not giving us any judgment. All you're doing is telling us what you saw, what you heard, what you did, what you felt. Not really emotionally, but if somebody punched you, you can tell them about the punch. So it's really about the incident or the event from your perspective. So you will definitely be using the first person here. I blah blah blah. I saw blah blah blah. I heard blah blah blah. Right? Actually, I have fans in the chat. Woo, look at that. Yeah, yeah. So that is the eyewitness report. Incident report. That's another report type. A formal document that records details of an incident, and usually it's some kind of accident, it's some negative thing, some problem. Investigative report. These are official documents that contain details about ongoing or a closed investigation. And you would include information like, you know, the objective of the investigation, like what is being investigated and why. The allegation details, maybe someone um, is thought to have done something. There are some allegations. You would cover those. Whatever evidence has been gathered or is being gathered, you would cover those, right? And if there are any witness statements, you would involve those. So an investigative report is just a report. We've been looking at all of these have been reports so far, but this time it's focused on an investigation. So you will note all of these reports have the shared focus of presenting factual information for somebody else to read. It's just about what the information is about. And depending on what it is about, the point of view might be a bit different, and how it is presented, the tone might be a little bit different. But it should always be professional anyway. Professional, objective. It's not your opinion. All right. So since I'm moving so quickly, you guys probably need to take quick notes, jot down some stuff, or take screenshots where necessary. Vibe with Wayne. Happy I could help you out. Um, in getting a grade one. That's really good news. Really good news. All right, here we go. Progress report. Yeah, so there's always a slim chance that CXC might give you one of these, weird types, not weird, but one of these types of reports to write. So you need to know about all of them, so you're not caught off guard if such a question comes up on the exam, right? So for the progress report, this is an assessment that takes place during a project, and you're basically giving factual information about how the project is going. What goals have been accomplished, what problems have been encountered, how much time has been spent, all that stuff. Evaluation report, right? So while the progress report is about a project that would have been done, the evaluation report is about a project that has been done, and you're evaluating maybe how effective it was and stuff like that, right? So that's the evaluation report. So you see, there are so many types of reports, right? Statistical report is another example of a kind of report. And these transform data into information, like, paragraph information. So you're going to get some data, like you might get some charts or tables, you're going to get some numbers, and you are going to make sense of the numbers, interpret and analyze the numbers, and then you will be able to write about what the numbers mean. Maybe some product sales have increased over the last year, maybe crime rate has decreased. All of these numbers you get, you're going to make sense of them in continuous prose, in paragraph form. And you might have to talk about like trends over the past 5 years. This has been happening with the numbers. You might focus on irregularities. Oh, but in June there was a spike in sales. Maybe June had a very high number. So you're gonna have to work with numbers, interpret them, and turn numbers into sentences.
So, statistical report, you basically the information they will give you raw data, like Adam said, and you have to examine it. You have to identify the trend of the of the information that's given to you, right? And you have to show the difference in the trend, the difference in the categories over a particular period of time. Let's say they give you a time period. Maybe they might give you it by years. So over the course of the years, you have to identify the pattern, the trend, whether there was any increase in the data. So let's say, for instance, let's talk about crime because I mean our crime rate is going up. So in terms of a statistical report for crime, we would identify how much the figures was last year compared to 5 years ago. Was there an increase? Was there a decrease? And these are the things that you'll be speaking about in your report. All right. You will be doing comparison of the data, comparison of the years. Like let's say in 2012, the data is basically the same as 2023. That's what they really look for in your statistical report. How well you can analyze and interpret the data. You have to compare it, you have to contrast it, you have to look for trends, you have to look for any increase, any decrease, any fluctuation, if it was consistent. And it's simple, it might sound challenging, but it's simple. And trust me, it's something that you all would have done in mathematics from primary school, right? It's just a
It
little bit
actually
more advanced. Sorry?
it actually sounds too simple to be true because you cannot tell me that I just have to look at statistics and just reword it and interpret
Remember,
it and I get
remember
my
you're just
marks.
getting numbers, eh? You're getting numbers and you're going to have to put it into words.
That sounds okay. Probably I'm missing
Yeah,
something.
it
It sounds
no,
easy.
it is that simple. It's
Yeah.
Wow.
you don't have to overcomplicate it. You will not have to be creative. You just need to have professional academic vocabulary with which to talk about the numbers, and you would have to try to figure out what talking points would be important. For example, if you realize, oh wow, this number is bigger than the rest, obviously you'd want to focus on that. Or in in June of 2019, there was an increase in blah blah blah. So you're going to want to have that vocabulary that can talk about how the numbers look and how they flow over time. So words like increase, decrease, fluctuation, numbers going up and down. There was an irregularity, something looked different there. There was an anomaly. This number is way different from everything else. So you will have to be able to pick out like patterns, like when do we see numbers going down? When do we see numbers going up? When do you see a number jumping up or a number go way down? And when do we see like just tell me about the numbers in English. Tell me in a way where I can understand what the numbers mean. So imagine the person reading the report, they don't know how to read a graph or a spreadsheet. You're going to turn that graph or spreadsheet into a paragraph or a few paragraphs that they can make sense of. They can know what's happening, whether it's in sales, it's the crime rate, tourism, whatever it is. They want to understand what is going on. You have the numbers, you're the numbers guy, they're not a numbers guy. You have to explain it to them in clear professional English. So statistical reports, this is something that's very common in the field of business, in the corporate world, right? So your company, imagine you're running a big company, right? You manufacture shoes, and you have like 10 different branches working on different things. You're the CEO. You don't have time to look at every spreadsheet and every blah, blah, blah. So once every couple of months, you call a big meeting and you have your executive give you reports. They show you all the numbers and tell what the numbers mean. And they say, okay, sales are down 25%, this and this and that and that. So you can get what the information means without having to dig into into the numbers. So you're going to be turning raw data, you're going to be turning numbers into coherent sentences, focusing on things like trends and patterns.